often state that the rapport building process with the teacher and the coach is built by the coach seeing the classroom through the eyes of the teacher and being able to communicate to the teacher that that's how you see it. I find one helpful strategy for that is for the coach to listen carefully to the words that a teacher uses, and then as much as possible use those words back with the teacher. Kind of coined the phrase that evaluators use the words of the system and coaches use the words of the people. So when I'm pre-conferencing with a teacher, whether the teacher uses the phrase cooperative learning or group work or peer collaboration, I jot that term down in my notes. And then when we get to the post-conference, as I'm describing and giving the teacher feedback, I use the same descriptive term that the teacher used in her statement to me. I find that when coaches switch the words from the phrase that the teacher used to describe the strategy to the, quote, official term for the strategy, perhaps from the district's PD or evaluation instrument, the process begins to feel more supervisory to the teacher than coaching. So listen carefully to the teacher's words and look to use those words back. Posing close-ended questions to the teacher, especially in a post-conference setting, can cause the teacher to take on a sense of feeling trapped or cornered. The close-ended question can lead to the teacher either, one, being defensive to avoid answering the question, or two, giving the coach the answer that the teacher thinks the coach is wanting to hear, and thus missing getting the teacher engaged in the critical thinking that we're looking for in the coaching process. So the coach asking the question, have you thought about, or have you tried, or do you think? All of those with that yes or no response have that potential of the teacher feeling cornered. If I flip those questions to more open-ended, I'm more likely to hear the teacher's thinking and more likely to have the teacher consider possibilities. So instead of those close-ended questions, the coach might be using a phrase like, what would you imagine happening if? Or what impact do you think there would be from? Or in your experience, what has happened when students have? The longer I've practiced and studied coaching, the more critical I find the coach's questions, more critical role I find the coach's questions play in engaging the teacher in the critical thought processes that we want from coaching. Phrase, can I help, has the potential on the part of the teacher perceiving that the teacher has now been put at a level somehow lower than the coach. In other words, there's I think a thought process that the helper is up here helping the person down here. So I've made a decision several years back to avoid my use of the word help unless the teacher used the word first. In other words, if the teacher said to me, can you help me identify, then I'm, at a much greater level of comfort. But if the teacher hasn't used that word, I tend to stay away from it. Asking instead, what role might you see me playing? Or what question is it that you're looking to answer? So if I've listened clearly, or if I understand clearly, if I had an idea that would, and put in whatever the teacher's requesting, you'd be interested in hearing that idea. As much as possible when I'm in the coaching role, I'm looking for a language that communicates to the teacher that I am working side by side. Doesn't mean that if I have an idea that the teacher can use, I hold back sharing that idea, but that the two of us are thinking and problem solving the complexity of teaching.